Well, hello, America. Hello, America. Hello, America. Thank you for hanging out with us Saturday night takeover with America After Dark. Welcome to the show, the one and only exclusive interview, Miss Queen of Savannah, Georgia, Kesha Gison, the next 68 mayor of Savannah, Georgia. How you doing, Miss Lady?
Hello, Mr. America.
Hey, you looking nice in that red.
I didn't get the memo, but I'm glad. I just thought that this was going to be that kind of night. So
yeah, I know it. I know.
I came ready, sir.
I see. You know, I had to come ready too. I said, you know what? I got to put the tie on for you. You know. Hey, wow, man, this I can't believe you're here. I can't believe you're here. It's I've been trying to get you on this show for what, almost 3 years now.
Yes. And you know what? It was worth the wait because guess what? This is my first post-qualification interview. I haven't interviewed any media outlets. This will be my first interview. So you sir, tonight we're making history.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to mark this day down and talk
right.
about this 20 years from now.
Yes. Because it will be worthy of a discussion because the work
definitely.
that we'll do, the work that we have done, and the work that we are doing is worthy of sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? Hey, this your night. This whole show is on you. It's about you. It's like this. I tell people it's uncensored, unapologetic, and it's great. It's great. I'm great to have you, and I appreciate it. We want all our orders to come in. We want everybody to share. Thank you. I know you could have been doing something else besides hanging out with me on Saturday night, and I appreciate it. You know,
well, just sacrificing a little bit. I was able to spend some quality time with my grandson who turned 2 years old today.
Okay.
And he just left. So this is good timing.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. Man, it's like you all over the place. Hey, every time you all over the place. Every time we cut the TV on, you on there. You say, hey, you better than Steve Harvey. You all over the place.
Well, and to coin the phrase of Mr. Charlie Brown, he said, Miss Gibson Carter, if you want to win any election, you have to be like air, and that's everywhere.
Yeah. And you is, and first of all, I want to thank you for taking your time out with your busy schedule to come hang out with my family. And this sad occasion with our little cousin, Robert Johnson Jr., relayed him the rest today. And I just want to give you, you and Mr. Carter, our family will appreciate you for just, taking your time out, hanging out with us. And we love you. And we're going to remember this in November.
Yeah. Well, it was nothing I had to think about when you informed me. And it's, I'm always taken aback at how your mere presence make a difference in the people when they are going through a struggle or a challenging time. And so if just stopping by made a difference in the life of you and your family during this very difficult time, I was honored to do it, as well as my husband.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was great. It kind of like, definitely, I know with Robert Johnson Sr. really appreciated it. Kind of made him, relax that, hey, everybody, we show you love, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, we appreciate it. I thank you again. And we're going to allow all the people, call your mama, your daddy, your brother, your sister from Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, around the world. We got the one and only, the queen of Savannah, Georgia, Miss Kesha Carter Gibson, the next 68th mayor of Savannah, Georgia. And Miss Producer, we're going to get it on. We're going to start with first thing first, question of the night. Of the night is, who is Kesha Carter Gibson? Who is Kesha Carter Gibson?
Well, first, I'm Kesha Gibson Carter. That's the first thing. And let me tell you this, Mr. America, dear American audience, let me tell you with this guy. So he says that he supports me, he appreciates the service, and he's dedicated to the Kesha Gibson Carter campaign to become the 68th mayor. He's offered himself in so many ways. He's extended sentiments of congratulations. He's extended sentiments of, I'm concerned about you, I care about you. And so when he asked me to be on the show and I committed, I said, well, can you send me a list of questions? And guess what he said, America?
What did he say?
He said no. I was like, I was crushed.
Yeah.
So I want all to know that all of these questions are off the rip. Like, that would have been an easy question for me to ponder and to be able to give you a response straight away. But instead, I have to ask you to ask me the question again. And now that I'm asking you to ask the question again, I'm remembering the question, which is, who is Kesha Gibson Carter?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know how much time you pay, but you have to be prepared to pay for some extended minutes, since you didn't give me any pre-questions. So here we go. Who is
We
Kesha
good.
Gibson?
We good. We got 2 hours. We good. We got 2 hours. It's like Christmas. You don't ask somebody what you got in the Christmas box when they hand it to you. You know what I'm saying? So why I should do that? You know, it's a surprise.
No, but let me tell you, y'all, when I asked him to tell me, to send me a list of questions to, or should I send you some questions to ask me what I would be comfortable with, guess what he said? No. So here we go. Who is Kesha Gibson Carter? I must first say that I am a child of God. I am a strong woman of faith and conviction in my God, and I am a lover of people. I love people. I am a helper. I am a doer. I taught at St. Leo University, and one of the introductory courses to human services was related to employability, resume writing. And I would tell my students, when it came to building their resume or creating their resume, that when somebody asks you about yourself, they do not want to know what your zodiac sign is. They do not want to know what your favorite color is. Those things are resume killers. They do not want to know what your hobbies are. Those are resume killers. But what people want you to know is who are you in relation to the job that you are applying for. So I want to segue into that. So I am a passionate advocate. I am a humble servant, and I am a bold leader. That's who Kesha Gison Carter is, related to becoming the 68th Mayor of Savannah. A passionate advocate, a humble servant, and a bold leader. When I say passionate advocate, that means that I am the person who will speak up, speak out for the least of us. As a humble servant, I am committed to expanding and extending my experience under the Gold Dome to a broad community who otherwise would not have access to the happenings in local government. And a bold leader. I am that person who is crazy enough to believe that we can do all things that have never been done. We can have all things that have never been had. And we can say all things that have never been said. And to that point, that's essentially what has catapulted us into public office. You see, I have never desired a life in politics. I never imagined that I would ever be in elected office. It's nothing I aspired. It's nothing that I was inspired to do. And so it was only for but a set of circumstances where I changed careers, shifted positions, left my last job, that I found myself at a crossroads. And amidst that crossroads, I had a person who'd actually hired me, was a part of a board that hired me for my position at the Rape Crisis Center, said to me, "You would be great as a politician. You should run for public office." And I thought and responded to her, and I'm going to put her on blast. It was Gwen Glover. And I said to her straight away, "No way." Emphatically, I declared that I was not interested. I abhorred politics and still do. And so in short order, I found myself at a place in this small town of Savannah. When you don't agree and have disagreements, sometimes it causes you to be iced out of future opportunities. And some people who are listening to me are living through that experience, have lived through that experience, or maybe going through that experience. And I want to say to you, don't stop, don't quit, and keep going. And don't rely on your own accord, but yield and subject yourself to your natural environment and to the forces that are far greater than you. And you may not find yourself where you want to be, because the secret tonight, Mr. America, is I'm not where I want to be.
Right.
But I'm where I need to be.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not where I want to be, but I'm right where I need to be.
Yeah.
And so with that, I subjected myself to the call. And that was a call of greater duty for the greater Savannah. And so I tossed my name in the ring of that election in 2019 after pondering what position should I run for. I live in the 4th district. As someone put on blast and on the feed, this person who has nothing else to do. I live in the 4th district, and I thought, well, you know, a lot of what happens in this district is important to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very closely connected to those things that I've advocated for in the course of my career. And I felt like I could give more to a greater Savannah than just one district.
Mm-hmm.
And a dear friend of mine, Shannon, who is now deceased,
Mm-hmm.
she said to me, she's been posted on her Instagram. When I first started talking about public office, she said, "You're going to be the next mayor. You're going to run for mayor." And I said, "No, Shannon Mercier." I said, "I'm not ready. I shouldn't run for mayor. I don't have any political experience."
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I was sort of going with that whole theme of it's that person's turn or that person's time. And so straight away, I yielded to that.
Mm-hmm.
And just as I'm talking to you now, as I can ponder it, I also prayed about it. God, well, if this is what I'm going to do, what should I do in terms of the position? And just as I'm talking to you tonight, and I don't profess to hear the voice of God very often. I'm not one of those people who always hear the voice of God. I can count on one how many times I've heard his voice or heard him tell me to do. He said, "Run for mayor." Mayor. When I said, "What should I run for?" this voice said mayor. And I don't know that I was actually looking for or listening to hear a response, because as I said, I'm not one who actually listened or heard the voice of God. But before I could actually think that he wouldn't respond to me, he responded. And I said, "No, God."
Yeah.
So I would say to you that over these last 3 years, it's just 4 years, it's been punishment for not listening to God, for not listening to what he told me to do in the beginning. And so choices to post 1 or post 2. And I didn't know this woman, Alicia Miller Blakely. I had never met her, didn't know anything about her, but knew that she had already declared for post 2. And so post 1 was left. And it was occupied by one of Savannah's opponents that I feel like was a part of a lot of the reasons why things were what they were. And I said, okay, I'll take that low-hanging fruit. And it proved fruitful.
Right.
In my last days as alderwoman at large for post 1. That's how that all happened. After a very, very bloody bath.
Oh, okay. But you know what? When I first met you, you have that strong personality, smile personality, warm heart, warm welcome. Because I remember when I first met you, right? So we was at Savannah State football game. And I think you only see me when I was on the podcast or like that. So I walk past back and you would say, "America." And I'm like, "Oh." And when I turn around, it was like, "Oh." You know what I'm saying? I know it was you because I seen you on the podcast, seen your TV. But when you said America, I was like, "Oh, okay, hey, how you doing?" Blah, blah. Talk and everything like that. And then, went on in the gate. And it was that spirit you had, with people that people don't understand is that, you working for the Lord. You ain't working for nobody else but the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And I tell people, God put us on this earth, for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And it's up, the older you get, you'll realize what that reason is. And so on that note, Miss Producer, next subject, please. Hey, the next subject is this: going deep with America. Going deep with America. So, Miss Carter, why are you running for mayor of Savannah, Georgia? And when you win, what is your first agenda?
I am running for mayor because I want to be that I want to see. First, I want to see a city that we all hope for. A culturally blended city, a city where the order of the day is not African American men and boys falling like flies on the streets of Savannah. Nothing is more important to me. Nothing is more important to me than stopping the bleeding. Nothing is more important to me than stopping the violence against African American men and boys. There is no other demographic. There is no other demographic. However, as of late, we've had an unusual number of African American females who are succumbing to gun violence and committing gun violence. And I see that it's not so much of individuals engaged in crime becoming a part of the system and becoming victims of crime than it is the community and the failed leadership that create this environment where that element can exist. In my home, if you breed discord is going to occur. In our community, if we breed discord will occur. And for far too long, we have been a part of a system that strategically creates the criminal element that we all see. And I am that person that will say it out loud and call it out for what it is, right? If any other demographic outside of African Americans who are dying on the streets, not just of Savannah, but America, we would have a far different response to it. And so that's the first thing. And I have that as the first thing because you see, when we solve that problem, when we solve that issue, when we have that as a primary focus, then and only then can we start to solve everything else that comes after that. Yeah. Homicide, that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate. So why not start? Why not start there? And when we start there, we're over triaging. We're over crunching numbers, collecting data, and reviewing statistics. It's time to do something. We don't need another task force. We don't need another study. We don't need another committee. What we need is action. What we need is dedicated resource. What we need is a deliberate allocation in communities so that we can stop the bleed in a real way. But right now, we are continually spewing rhetoric that essentially has not kept pace with the reality of what is going on in our community today. So that would be my first task. And there are detailed ways and strategic ways to do that. And people and a politician who's asked that question, they probably would first look to law enforcement and the police department. And that's not the answer. And here's what I say to that. Where our law enforcement is, we have to recognize as citizens of Savannah, as taxpayers, our police department is grossly understaffed and has been in excess of 4 years. Right? We actually have fewer today than we had 4 years ago. So there are some strategic things we can do from building in the extra added layers to help removing politics, putting people in place who actually know what policing is. Police chief report to someone who doesn't know anything about police. Having a police chief report to someone who actually has been on the force more years and that person is old. There's something wrong with that, right? And then there are community initiatives and approaches that we can take. Reinstituting and reestablishing retired police officers so that we're not engaging in policing, but we are engaging in community partnerships. Establishing real partnerships and not campaign partners with our faith community and our clergy. When we have a faith community and a team of clergy who are committed to Savannah and not committed to a candidate or an elected official, we can solve this problem real easy and real fast. Then it's utilizing the community resources that we have to build upon our pre-existing infrastructure, foundation, and programs. We have dozens of community centers in this city that are sleeping giants. They are shrines, they are inactive, and they are void anything tangible and related to making a real difference in community and saving our youth.
Okay. I was sitting here, right? And like I said, I've been going for 40 years, but I've been here now about 8 months. And you said something that I started, laughing. You said that you don't have enough policemen in Savannah, Georgia. My personal, and this is my opinion, not our black media opinion, not your opinion. I think you have too many police officers in Savannah, Georgia, and too many is not doing their job. You know what I'm saying? I was over in the area, right? When I first got here, 5 or 6 police cars, just around with no crime and nothing going on, just sitting in the car talking. You know what I'm saying? And you know how I am, Kesha. I'm gonna keep it real. I ain't sugarcoating nothing. I'm just saying what I see. So if you say y'all need more police officers, and you see it more than I do, because I'm just new to this. But if they do their job and maybe some of this can solve some of this issue. I'm just saying. But like I say, I'm new to the game, but I got knowledge to the game too. You know what I'm saying? So, if you say y'all need more police officers, you know more than I do, right?
No, I don't. And that's the beauty and the benefit of Kesha Gison Carter becoming mayor, is I don't know everything. And I'm smart enough to know the difference between not knowing everything and knowing how to get help, how to get the right people in the right people to make the decisions that need to be made. When you have an individual who feels like they know everything and they make all decisions all of the time, we're living in a tyrannical system of government. That's what we have been subjected to for the last 3.5+ years. But in a democratic society, in a free society, you have a embrace the thoughts, the desires, the talent, and the experience and expertise of all people connected to this local government. Right. And so what that is, I want people to know that I fully support our Savannah Police Department. I think they are doing a phenomenal job with what they do. Is there room for improvement? Yes, there is. There's room for improvement in every entity, in every police department, I would imagine, because policing today has become such a fluid occupation. Policing today is like a moving target, for the lack of a better term. Policing today is ever evolving. And so we have to first be brave enough, courageous enough, and Mr. America smart enough to acknowledge that we do not have all the answers. Right. And to Savannah's opponent, I want to say, you can take some plays from this interview tonight and you can use it, because the one thing I said a long time ago, a year and a half ago, was the best thing that I could have done for Savannah is announce a year in advance that I was running for mayor. That was deliberate, intentional, and it was strategic, because that individual, Savannah's opponent, would then be charged with doing halfway right. Savannah's opponent would be charged with doing halfway right, knowing that he was having someone on that neck.
Right.
I dare you not to pave a street. I dare you not to put speed bumps in Woodville. I dare you not to rectify situations in Carver Village. I dare you not to fully serve Twickenham. I dare you, right? And so that individual, Savannah's opponent, has been real busy trying to keep up and make right my dares. And so, Savannah, you have me to think for the little incremental changes in Susie King Taylor. I dare you not to name that square Taylor Square. Weeping Time Committee, Yamakra, it's unfortunate that your petitions and your appeals were not made during election season. This is the difference election season makes. And so what I want to say to the citizens of Savannah, to those who have been petitioning and advocating, from the individuals who want to do more in terms of this gun violence, to the individuals who are concerned about the horses pulling carriages downtown, whatever you want, whatever you desire, right now is the time to put it in writing and to challenge these politicians who have the power. Challenge Estella, challenge Dietrich, challenge Palumbo and Purdy, challenge Linda Wilder Bryant, and challenge Van Johnson, because those are the individuals who have the power right now. They have the votes. They snatch the votes. They snatch the votes. And they have been going forth without any regret, without any concern, any regard for anyone else, except for themselves and their own agenda. And so, with that said, it doesn't matter if not one person casts a vote for me. I care for Savannah so much, and I want Savannah to benefit from me so much, from my acknowledgement that I'm running for mayor, that I want you to put forth everything that you think you would never get. But you know what? These people are not very smart, because even in the face of that, they're still doing things that are polar opposite from benefiting the community. Like, how that you not roll the millage rate back to save individuals hundreds of dollars on their property taxes during these fiscal vulnerable times, knowing full well that the Board of Education, County of Chatham too, were making decisions that will cause people's property taxes to increase. How is it that you not cut wage spending? You know why? Because of the ego, because of the cockiness, because of the greed, and the lack and regard and common decency for the people.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm gonna ask you this question here, and then we're gonna go to a commercial after this. And I'm asking this question for people that afraid to ask, and people want to know, and some people a lot of people are tired of it, and not only in Savannah, Atlanta, because I've been around a long time, and my ears, I be listening, and a quiet mind, especially in Savannah, Georgia, want to know, why is it so much division, and why is there so much chaos down there in City Hall? Why? I mean, tell the Savannah community, tell everybody what's the problem, and why is so much I'm gonna be honest with you, it look like it's dysfunctional. It look like something just ain't right. And so tell the people what really and truly going on behind closed doors that we don't see, that we want to see.
So first, I'll say to this: uh, people have to understand. I think because of who we are, primarily what we look like, we have increased interest in City Hall, right? And we have increased interest in City Hall by a whole lot of people who do not know much about local government.
Mm-hmm.
That said, almost in tandem to that, we have also created a scenario where people actually know more about local government than they have ever known before. Previous to our coming into council, folk didn't know who their district older person was. They didn't know the difference between a mayor pro tem and an at-large alderwoman or alderman. Um, they know about the legislative process as it relates to the agenda. They know how many votes it takes to vote an item up or vote an item down. They know the function of a city attorney versus the function of a city manager. They know actually how many districts there are in Savannah. They know that the difference between the district older persons and the post one and post two older persons in
Mm-hmm.
comparison to the mayor. Uh, they know more. They know way more than they knew before we came into office. And the reason why they know more than they knew before we came into office, because of people like Alderwoman Kesha Gibson Carter, Alicia Miller Blakely, and Bernetta Bryant Lanier, who have made themselves accessible. We have expanded our political experience under the Gold Dome to the broader community. And when we go out into the community, we are explaining to them in layman's terms
Mm-hmm.
what actions actually mean, what they are actually empowered to do. We have expressed to them the importance of being a citizen led and policy driven community. We have expressed to them the difference between the fact that you have had 40 years of African American leaders, but you have yet to move the needle with regard to a Black agenda or the Black community. And thereby, you haven't helped anyone except for the top 2% of Savannah. And so, as we go forth in our service, it isn't my desire to minor in minutia or to minor in major and minor things, if you will. When people talk to me about discord or interpersonal relations and the lack thereof, I first ask them, Mr. America, where are you making your assessment? Is it from a headline in the former Savannah Morning News that's now a pamphlet? Is it in the top 3 news stories of JCL, SAV, TOC, or Fox, who are all on one accord when it comes to their top 3 news stories, despite the fact that they're supposed to be competitors, but they're lock in step with the same propaganda, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 8.999% of they always say is from those entities. It's never, oh, I was watching the meeting and I heard you say, oh, I was watching the meeting and I saw this person do. That's not the response. And so I can't say to you how many times I have actually pulled out my phone as I'm talking to a person who asked me that question and say, now, what was the issue? What was the topic?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the issue and they don't know the topic. You know why? Because the media takes the low road. They're lazy. But more than taking the low road and more than being lazy, they are facilitators, they are buffers, and they're nothing more than marketing and PR firms for the establishment. So it's in their best interest to frame a narrative that is counter the people. It's in their best interest to frame a narrative that is counter reality. And what we're actually, so this job pays all of us a stipend of $25,000 a year. I get nothing more, nothing less. and I don't get much of that after taxes and insurance, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So do you think that after 25 years of stellar record experience in this community, working with youth who are vulnerable and members of gangs, working with families and children who were homeless through our faith community, working with seniors who are nutrition insecure, working with victims of rape and child molestation, being regarded as the Advocate of the Year by United Way, being recognized as the queen of startups who turn nonprofit organizations around, having done the work of doubling and tripling budgets of nonprofit organizations in tandem to cutting wasteful spending, do you think after all of that, I decided to come to City Hall on this broad stage,
Right.
on this great stage, and lose my mind, lose my scruples, lose my values, my ethics, and ruin my reputation? No, all of that was coordinated, it was strategic, and it was planned when I refused to take the payouts under the table and over the table. When I resisted the dinners at the Chatham Club, the rides on the private jet, refused the invitations to the fancy Christmas party. I didn't need anyone paying for my children's tuition to college or leasing me an account for a Mercedes or a BMW. I don't need an addition onto my home.
Right.
And
right.
they could not buy me. And when I declared in 2019 that I was not for sale, from that day, from that first day, I was viewed as a threat. And that was establishment. And so, to answer your question, the very first reason, I can go down and give you like the top 10 reasons, but the first and most important reason that there is so much discord is because in March of 2020, when crime and gun violence was at a high, all-time high, when we had eclipsed the number of homicides in the previous year at the same time, the mayor and his majority at that time, before he recruited Estella, Palumbo, Purdy, Dietrich, and Linda, they voted under the leadership of Pat Monahan, who knew better, but didn't do the right thing, voted to create a rule of council which called for a majority of council. Yeah. It takes 5 members to vote anything up or down.
Right. I was going to ask you that. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to ask you that. Let's go to this commercial, and then we'll pick up off right where that was going to be the next question. So, hey, Miss Producer, let's go to the commercial, please. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Welcome back. Hey, I want y'all to share. Share Our Black Media, Instagram, YouTube, Roku, TikTok, and thank you for everybody that's tuning in tonight to see the one and only Miss Kesha Gison Carter. She had me straighten that out earlier. And want to thank y'all. Y'all share. Y'all tell y'all family that she's on here and she's keeping it real. We want to thank our sponsor, is Our Price, One Price Cleaning and Farmer Markets on 80. Thank y'all for y'all support. So I got three. Since we talking about the 5 votes, I want you to add this up. We're gonna talk about the 5 votes. Then I want to talk about, because people want to know, is Van for the weeping time or not for the weeping time? And is SCAD a school or is SCAD a development company?
Okay, so I left off saying, in response to your question about the Discord and why, if there's like I don't know, people have described it as a lot of things other than what it actually is. And I want to say that our city council and local government is not much different from any other government when you have a group of people called to work together and you add in the dynamics of politics and how people can stray away from altruism and doing what they sought out to do by the people. But that said, I left off to sum it all up, Mr. America. How do you think in March, this decision was made in March of 2020 to create this rule of council where it would take 5 members of council not only to vote something up or down by way of an ordinance, a policy, a mandate, but it actually will take 5 people to introduce, present, or have discussion or for consideration legislation, an idea or a thought. 5 people. Nowhere in America does that happen. Nowhere in these great free United States does that happen. So for me, as the person only second to Alicia Miller Blakely, who garnered the most votes in this race, I got more votes than the mayor actually received in that 2019 election. Why can't I carry the voice of my people? Why should I have to get 5 votes to present something, to offer something, or to give consideration to something when you can easily accept it and just vote it down? I just need my people to know that I'm actually working on their behalf. But if you can't see or know or understand that I want to put forth legislation to help mitigate the process for our nonprofit organizations, I want to give nonprofits who help us undergird the worth in our community more money. I want to be able to deliver more resources to our Little League teams and our recreation efforts, those individuals who help us backdoor our way into averting crime and violence. I want to do that, but I can't do it because I'm blocked. And I'm blocked because if the majority allow the community to see the light of day of what Kesha is really working on, and shame on you, media affiliates, all of you who spend time in those chambers, and you see our efforts, you see what we're working on, but you fail to report it and you fail to acknowledge. And as opposed to reporting it and acknowledging it, you take the low road. You take the low road of grabbing that low-hanging fruit, the low-hanging rotten fruit that's not worthy of the community's attention. And what they should know is that when you are complicit in reporting accurately, fairly, and unbiased, you then become culpable to what we have. More than Van Johnson, Savannah's opponent, more than his failed policies, the media has failed this community. Because if the media effectively and accurately reported on what this individual, Savannah's opponent, really does, Savannahans would be more inclined to hold that individual accountable than to continue to be gaslit, bamboozled, and led astray. There's a saying that goes, people want leadership. Then they just want good leaders. They want good leaders to follow. Mr. America, citizens will follow a good leader through a barren desert, thinking that leader is going to lead them to water, only to be led to a mirage of water in a barren desert and drink dirt.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to there you go.
That's just how much they believe in leadership. That's just how much they want leaders. They will follow that leader through a barren desert, see a mirage of what appears to be water, and drink it, only to discover that it's actually dirt. Savannah has been drinking dirt for 40 years. Consider this. We've had a majority Black council with Black mayors. We've had a majority Black commission with a Black county chair. You've had Black district attorneys. You've had Black fire chiefs, Black police chiefs. You've had Black state representatives. You've had Black state senators. You've had blackity black, all at the same time in some regard. And with all that Black leadership, what have we done for anybody outside of the top 10%? Not only just not Black people, working class, marginalized, blue collar workers. You haven't done anything for anybody.
Okay.
So generates the most money for Georgia, only second to Atlanta. Savannah generates the most money for Georgia, only second to Atlanta. And guess what, Mr. America? We make up nearly 3 times the national average in poverty.
Yeah. And that's a shame. And my thing is this: I'm gonna keep it real, like always. I'm gonna keep it real, unapologetic, unfiltered. So my question is this: we got 3, African American running for mayor. I got a question: why having a white person not running for mayor?
Because historically, and this is what people will come to learn and come to see when we look at politics in Savannah in particular, which I don't think we are an anomaly. I don't think we're different from anybody else. Nonetheless, here we are. Customarily in Savannah, or historically, I should say, you would have a Black hero of sorts who be upheld in the person cheer along. You remember the whole Black media only meeting, right? Where the Black folks want to get behind one candidate. We don't need y'all splitting the vote. We need you to. We believe in just one. That, and then the establishment would have their pick, and the establishment generally would have a white male, right? A white male would be their pick. Now, understand this. No one who is truly, really wealthy or rich runs for public office.
That's right. True.
So you have to know that people really enter into politics from a spirit of altruism. They seek to be good, but some of them know that there is a big payday if you play. There is a big payday if you play, right? And so for those who enter from a spirit of altruism, seeking to do the right thing, if you're broke coming in, you're going to find it hard pressed to stay in from that spirit of altruism where I just want to do good. I just want to do good. A broke person can only want to do good for so long. Right? I'm the craziest, brokest person on council. I mean, of all people on council, I'm the one who doesn't have a job. I don't have a pension. I do not have a retirement, right? I do not have a regular income. So if anyone should have sold out by now, it should have been me.
Yeah.
I should be the first one. I should be the first one, but we haven't done that. And so the reason why the establishment has found it, see, In 2019, a group of us declared that we were not coming, Alicia Miller Blakely and Bernetta Lanier in particular, we were not coming to play the game. We were coming to change the game. And in changing the game, it's demonstrative of what's happening now. There's a verse in scripture that says that your enemy will be entangled in their own snares. And that's essentially what's happening right now, in that they don't know which way to go because they have gotten in so deep in their mess that they have their pick, but their pick is actually a black man. They have, so you so we can't put a white candidate in because all of the contributions that went to Eddie DeLoach, all of Eddie's friends, are now Savannah's opponent's friends. They're the black man's friends, you know? And so this is also why Mr. America Newsflash, America, Kesha Gison Carter is not declaring a party. I'm done with it. I'm not registering and serving as a Democrat or a Republican. You know why? Because they're all in bed together. Yeah. And when it comes to Democrat, Republican, gay, straight, black and white, all of those issues before us only come to further divide us. It divides us. And it takes our minds off of the mysteries that mesmerizes us and causes us such a mess. Because if you're focusing on Democrat and Republican, who's sleeping with who, and black and white, guess what? You're not focusing on the fact that they just voted to raise your property taxes. You're not focusing on the fact that we just spent over $500,000 renovating offices in City Hall that didn't need renovating. You're not focusing on the fact that our police department is in turmoil. You're not focusing on the fact that our wasteful spending in homelessness and forced displacement, people who were born here, live here, raised here, graduated high school here, got married here, and gave birth to their children here. Even for those who retired here, Mr. America can no longer afford to live here. So if you're focusing on if somebody's gay or straight, you're not focusing on those things.
Right.
That's why we don't have a white candidate in the race, because they have the actions of who the candidate would be. And this is how incestuous these people are. In 2019, my opponent, Savannah's opponent at that time, outpaced me 10-1. That individual raised over $200,000. And I barely raised 13. I don't even know if it was 13, right? But guess what? That individual, my opponent in that 2019 race, I don't want to say that person's name.
You want me to say?
You could tell him. That person is now in bed with the person I'm running against. But they were enemies. My opponent now actually gave me insider scoop on how awful that opponent was. But guess what? Their funders and their backers and their donors are the same. Look at their financial disclosures. The same people who finance Eddie DeLoach's campaign are the same people who finance Van Johnson's campaign. The person you just mentioned, who was it?
Carolyn Bell.
Her campaign. The same people who marketed for T-Splosh. The same people who are revolving through the agenda. These are the same people who get contracts with the city of Savannah. These are the people who are in the bed with CETA. These are the same people who get contracts with Chatham County government and the Board of Education. Savannah, Chatham County.
Yeah. It's like this here. And I understand what you're saying, and I'm like this here. Okay. I'm going to break it down to you because I'm like this here. I'm not running for mayor. I'm not running for no council. I'm not running for nothing. I'm just telling you what I see and what I hear. It's like it's a big old container filled with paper bags with green in the paper bag, and they
Mm-hmm.
pass them out and they pay these people. One of the reasons why is no white candidate, and this is my opinion, not our black media opinion, or not Miss Carter opinion, it's my opinion, is that they don't have time to deal with the nonsense. They trying to pack their bank account so their kids can live well off. And what we do, we fall into that nonsense and we abide by their rules. That's what he's doing, abide by their rules and leaving our kids out to dry. Savannah, Georgia, period.
For a $2,500 campaign contribution, for a $3,000 and that's on the books. Now we don't know what they're. Now I've driven by and been invited to some former elected servants' houses, and I can see. I can see how, you know, the payoff when you see one part of the house is made of this particular material, and then you have another kind of material that looks like it's kind of commercial and it came from somebody's construction site. So it's so crazy. It's so obvious. And what's so maddening, Mr. America, is that I see it, I know it, but the broader community just doesn't get it.
They don't,
So what we are dealing with under that gold dome, what we are dealing with at City Hall, y'all, it's not Sunday school. It's not a weekly night Bible study. This is what we are dealing with is a set of evil dynamics. What we are dealing with is a set of entrenched, established evil that has been pervasive in government and in this community for decades. And who am I to be crazy enough to have the audacity to think that I could actually change it?
Nah, and your heart is in the right place. And it go way back with John Rousakis was the mayor of Savannah, Georgia, and that's when they started drug boats coming in. He letting them come in, and that's another story. But at the end of the day, you have to do your history to know about Savannah. So I got a question for you, and this is the word on the street. The word on the street. They feel like it's a lot of drama behind you. The naysayer. So let's clear this up. When I hear that, it's laughable. When I hear that, I have to consider the dynamic of what I experience, right? Because no one has actually said that to my face. No one ever accused me of that to my face, right? So I perceive it to be that those are individuals that no matter what I do or what I say, their assessment is going to be negative, right? Because they favor another person. And you know what? That's fine. We live in a democratic society. People can support who they want. But you know what encourages me? And you know why I feel like it's a waste of time and why I haven't spent much time pondering that assessment? Because I'm not one of those people who think that I'm always right. I always try to look at the other side or give consideration to what someone has said or is saying. And so with that said, when I go to Kroger in McAlpin Square and I can't get past the produce section because I have 2 and 3 people stopping me before I get to the bakery or around the seafood section or the frozen foods, telling me thank you. Telling me that. She's blanked out, but she absolutely right.
Telling me thank you, or telling me that they appreciate my service, or that they see what's happening. You know, these are people who are paying attention. So I marriage is the hardest institution. Marriage is the hardest institution to keep. Marriage is the hardest institution to maintain. I've been committed to one man for 33 years.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would be successful in relationship. I don't know that I would be successful in, and I can say this publicly. He just said it last night. It's not my words, it's
Yeah.
his.
Right.
And I would, if there was somebody out there with some kids or extra relations with him, they would bring themselves forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I would be able to hold down a committed relationship with a smart, intelligent man if I was that difficult to deal with. I don't know that I would have been regarded as Advocate of the Year for United Way. I don't know that I would have been successful in running a nonprofit organization for homeless families with children. I don't know that I would have been regarded as a person who turned a sleeping giant in the Rape Crisis Center around as the person that they were pleased to hear on the other line, or that staff was satisfied with. I don't know that I could be the dedicated mother and grandmother that I am. I don't know. I don't know that difficulty. I don't know that drama, because it just doesn't match my real life. So I can't speak to, and I will not continue to speak to, the manufactured insanity that the media has drummed up to cover. They provide cover as opposed to coverage. They provide. So I'm not inclined or interested in having to justify who I am.
Right.
And bottom line is, Mr. America, I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And at the end of the day, people like me.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else. And so I have to accept the fact that in the United States of America, when we have a presidential election, it comes down to the hair.
Yeah.
Because you have half of America who's one way, and you have half of America the other way. So who am I to feel like I should be exempt from that?
Right.
And for me, just as my previous experience before coming to public office was dress rehearsal, I feel like this whole stage, this whole Kesha Gison Carter for the 68th mayor, this is just dress rehearsal for the next thing. This, for me, as I'm talking to you, I'm realizing right now, and I appreciate this. I appreciate this revelation. This isn't even about being the 68th mayor of Savannah right now.
Yeah. You're right. And you know what? Let me say this here. I'm gonna piggyback on what you just said, but I'm gonna put it the way so the Black community can understand. The history is this here. This young lady is not drama. This young lady is opening up a can of worms that people want to know what was going on a whole lot of time ago. They don't like a strong-minded Black woman to lead this city, to lead something that's gonna make it for all people, not just certain people. And in this history, if you go way back in history with Reagan and all them days, you know what I'm saying, they feel like a Black woman, only thing a Black woman should do is go home, take care of their family, cook, blah, blah, and stay out of politics and stay out of trying to run things. No, one thing about Black women is this here. They're not gonna put up with a nonsense. My grandmama, my aunt, my wife for 35 years, rest in peace, and you. So don't get it twisted that you trying to twist drama into, if it wasn't for her, Alicia, and if it wasn't for Kesha, and if it wasn't for Bernetta, a lot of y'all wouldn't know what really the hell is going on. So y'all got to stand by this woman and remember in November and put her in office to change Savannah for all people, and we're gonna go on a commercial after that. I guess we won't go to a commercial, and that's good. We are the commercial, so I just want everybody to share. I think once again, I want to thank you for taking out this Saturday night of your time. You could have been with anybody. You could have been having spending a good more time with your grandson. Happy birthday! And I appreciate everything that you are doing for Savannah, Georgia. Not only Savannah, Georgia, Atlanta, and around the country. And you, hey, like I say, it's time for a change. It's fine. Time for a change. It's time for a change.
And so I want to say, I think it may be from something else, but I kind of get little snippets of, somebody will send me a text message of an image, or I'll get inbox of something related to what's going on with me or something in local government. And I just look at it as comedic relief oftentimes. But the piece related to drama, what was the question? How did you ask me that question again?
Oh, I asked you a question. The word on the street that is commercial break. Let's go to the commercial break now.
Okay.
Let's go to and we'll come back. Back.
Okay.
All right.
What is the difference between these two elected officials? Absolutely nothing. What is the difference between these two guys? Absolutely nothing. What is the difference between these three men? Absolutely nothing. What have they done for the African American community? Absolutely nothing. What can the African American community expect from them? Absolutely nothing. So what does the black community owe them? Absolutely nothing. When it's time to cast your vote, make sure you give them what they have given you. Absolutely nothing. And that would be absolutely perfect.
Yes, indeed. Hey, great commercial. Great commercial. Like I said, we want to make sure you share to all our platform and tune in to all our shows on Our Black Media. And I want to say this here, and then I'm gonna let you go ahead and finish what you have to say, Miss Kesha Carter. It's like this here. If you look at history in this country, if it wasn't for black women, it wouldn't be this country. Mm-hmm. Because y'all are the most strongest women in America history in this world. And I am thankful to be in your presence tonight. I am thankful for you doing what you're doing. And if I had a vote, in which I don't, because I don't live here, but if I had a vote, it'll be number one for you. So I want everybody to just take time out, share this interview, and you don't have to make your choice whether it's Van or whether it's Kesha. I'm going to tell you who to vote for. The 68 mayor is Kesha Gison Carter. And I guarantee you, we're going to keep her accountable when she get in that office. And I'll be the first one to keep you accountable. Like, hey, Kesha, hey, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we will not let y'all down. I promise you, we will not let y'all down. And you keep sharing that video. Absolutely nothing.
Right.
Go ahead, Miss Lady.
So I wanted to, when you mentioned the piece related to drama, well, how did you ask me that question? Sorry.
I asked you, the word on the street said that it's a lot of drama behind Kesha Gison Carter.
Yeah, and so I responded by saying that it's a lot of manufactured drama, right? It's a lot of made up drama. Every occurrence, every instance can be dispelled related to whatever they have added music to or created a headline. I have this saying that I'm a whole headline, but beyond that, there was a image by Panhandle Slim that said something over drama, or Mayor Johnson over drama, or something of that sort. And it just struck me because, I was, this is an individual who's supposed to be so conscious of grassroots, so conscious of who we are as a people who are often not included or not at the table of decision making. And so for that individual as a local artist to take that stand and be so bold with that statement, I was reminded of a piece that I actually purchased, paid a whole lot of money for, from an auction that said, and I can't remember, I'm sure your producers will be able to pull it up or post it later, but it said something related to the Savannah's opponent over drama. And at that time, I was the only person, and that individual were the only ones in the mayor's race. So I deduced that the drama was assigned to me. But I purchased this piece, and I purchased it during Dignity. That's what
Dignity.
It was.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how in the world a person could sum up this administration's leadership as dignity.
Yeah.
Have crime at an all-time high, forced displacement at an all-time high, homelessness at an all-time high, poverty at an all-time high. We've had more men and boys die on the streets of Savannah under this Black mayor's watch than any in the history of Savannah. That's dignity? You describe that as dignity? And so my advocacy has been for reducing taxes, cutting wasteful spending, Yamakra, Weeping Time, Susie King Taylor, nonprofit organizations, recreation, little league teams, paving streets, sidewalks, speed bumps. That's drama?
Yeah.
It's baffling. But I purchased this piece in 2019 and was so proud to support this artist in this work and display this in my home. And it says, almost always the creative, dedicated minority has made the world better. A quote by Martin Luther King. Almost always the creative, dedicated minority has made the world a better place. Martin Luther King. So I'm wondering, how does dignity over drama, how does that fit? It's two things.
Yeah.
And that's when I see this, Kesha, this is bigger than you. It's greater than you. Because when you have people like this who are giving assessments like that in our broader community, Miss America, I can't compete with that. I won't compete with it. But what I will do is I will yield to the will of which I have been called and continue to do all those things that are put before me and go forth. I can't, I have, now I know, now I fully know what it means to be unbothered and unbossed. And with that, people can inbox me and give bids for this piece of work that I no longer want to hang in my home, but just give bids for this piece to support the KGC for 68th Mayor campaign. That's K68mayor.com. You can go and give a contribution or a donation, and produce, if you could put that in the chat. That
produce, can you put that up? Can you put that up?
But you can inbox me on Facebook. Inbox me on Facebook and tell people who are not on Facebook, a particular artist, that this piece is for sale. Kesha Gison Carter is not for sale, but this is for sale.
There you go. I like that. Nah, you ain't for sale. Now that piece behind you for sale. Hey, I think I want you to clear this up, because since we say the word on the street, and what's so, you know what kills me, Miss Carter, it's like this here. I've been going for a while, okay, but I got back here. I've been here for 8 years, eight months. I mean, and I have picked up a lot of stuff in 8 months than people who've been here all their life. Don't get confused on what y'all saying, the drama. Don't get confused, because what it is these Jews, I'm gonna call them out. These Jews and these white folks are pumping the money, and your mayor is helping them. And so that's why I went here. I said, where are all the black people at? Why? I have seen so many people in different neighborhoods that shouldn't be in our neighborhood, but that's another subject, and we'll talk about that later. But I just want to clear something up, that y'all don't trust me. Forget about all that drama. I'd rather have somebody bringing the noise and let me know what time it is than somebody to think he Hollywood, all they want to dress up, go to these big functions, fly on the plane, and forget about y'all. Forget about y'all. He haven't did anything in the first district, and he been there 16 years. Okay, and one of my friends, he's been on there last week, Floyd Rocket, and I asked him, he said, well, what? And he the white man. He said, what have Van did for this? He said, I don't see no change in what he have did, period. And not only we as black folks frustrated, you got white folks frustrated too. Trust me. It's not about how you look. It's right and wrong. And I always say this, what look like us ain't always for us. So remember, in November, just because he look like us, he may not be for us. But I know one thing, I'll put my life on this. Miss Kesha Gison Carter is for us. And if y'all don't like it, it is what it is. Because you know what? They're afraid of you. People are afraid. They were afraid of Martin Luther King Jr. because he brought stuff to light. People died for us to vote. So if you're not registered to vote, go get registered to vote. We'll have a voting registration drive and make sure that we vote. If there's more black people in Savannah than anything, they'll tell you right now, half of y'all ain't voting. Go register to vote in November. At the end of the day, share this interview, and I think what you have did, Ms. Carter, you have opened up a lot of people's eyes the last couple of days, and definitely tonight, to let people know, hey, you real deal Holyfield. This ain't no joke. This ain't no joke. So I want to ask you 2 minutes. I want 2 minutes to ask you this here. What is your relationship with Alicia, and what is your relationship with Bernetta? 2 minutes.
Well, so I want to go back to a comment you made, and I just want to acknowledge that I am and have always been committed to all people. From all of my previous work with nonprofit organizations, we were open to all. As mayor, we will also be open to all. And when we see how marginalized and left out and left behind and left back African Americans are and have been, I submit to you that there are also white people, Jewish people, and Hispanic people who have been equally left out and left behind. It's that 2% who get all of the focus and all of the attention, and some in between. Now, my relationship with Alicia and Bernetta started and evolved when I was elected. I did not know Alicia Miller Blakely at all, and I did not know Bernetta Lanier at all. I knew no one on council except for Dietrich Leggett. And so my encounters with council members evolved over time as I saw who was essentially aligned and committed with what we all declared, ran on, campaigned on in 2019. And as we progressed in our term, I was naturally connected to and naturally gravitated to individuals who were most committed to what they started out on and who they started out as. And today, those are the last two women standing, as far as I'm concerned, within this administration, who are still closely connected to, committed to, and married to that which they ran on. And I have never known or met more committed women who have a love and regard for people and community than Alicia Miller Blakely and Bernetta Bryant Lanier.
Okay. One more question on the word on the street, and then the word on the street is why should they vote for you and vote Van out? What's the difference between you and Van?
Well, there's an old saying that goes, if you always do, you're going to always get what you always get. And doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is called insanity.
Mm-hmm.
For nearly 20 years, Savannah has been living in insanity under the leadership of this current opponent. And so what I bring is a fresh perspective, a renewed insight, and an opportunity, a last opportunity for us to keep Savannah as the culturally blended community that we not only can enjoy, but actually afford and live peacefully in. Right now, you have an individual who's been in office in excess of 18 years, almost 20 years at the end of this term. It will be 20 years at the end of this term. That individual has lodged a nearly $500,000 campaign for a job that pays $57,000 a year, from individuals who have made contributions to his campaign for a down payment for what they want from Savannah, compared to an individual who has been in office for 4 years and who's receiving donations and contributions from people who have an interest in what Savannah could be and become. And so if you follow the money, the real difference, if you follow the money, you will see where the real service is. If you follow the money, you will see where the real dedication is. If you follow the money, you will see what the truth is.
Yes. And I'm gonna bring something up that's just I'm passionate about that when you become mayor of Savannah, Georgia, I just have one thing I want you to do. I want you to go to all these elderly homes, people live in homes where people can't barely walk, can't barely talk, just barely just making it. I want you to go in there and clean house and let these people stop sitting on their butt and help these people. Okay, it is Stillwood Tower. I want you to change Stillwood Tower. I want you to change the elderly home on Paulson. I want you to go to these Alice place where they just totally messing these people's arms up, and people have to leave there and go to the hospital to fix it. And you know what kind of color people these is? It's our black people. Why we allowing so much bad things to happen to our black people in Savannah, Georgia? I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I had enough. I'm tired of the leadership down there in City Hall and this mayor that's not doing what he needs to do. I'm passionate. I'm over it. I'm over it. And if we can't make a change, then at the end of the day, let somebody get there who very passionate about what they're gonna do and not take a paper bag and not take money. At the end of the day, if you don't raise $1 million, what you do with that money? Take it into New York City?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had a moment. I had a moment. I'm sorry.
What I want to say to that, and I'm really big on information and awareness, and helping our electorate really understand how things work in government, right? And so a handful of what you just raised is essentially outside of the purview of local government or a mayor, right? Some of those entities are private, and some of those entities are a part of other governmental establishments. And so we do not have any authority, control, or say where that's concerned. I preface that with saying this: that being the case, as mayor in this city, the city of Savannah, this very important and fine city, while we don't control and we do not have the authority, just like I don't control a whole lot and have the authority over a number of things within our local government in this city, our voice, our weight, it carries a lot, and it goes far. And if we can use our influence for others, like it's been said, that we cannot do anything about our nonprofit entities like the Savannah College of Art and Design not paying taxes. We can't do anything about the Georgia Ports Authority and their failure to invest back in community in a tangible, real way that people can actually touch and feel, right? But we say that in one breath, but in the next breath, you look at our campaign disclosures and our campaign contributions, and you see that those individuals have contributed to you. So I can be influential enough for you to give to me, but I can't be influential enough for you to give to my city.
Yeah.
Like, so we have to cut out the selfishness. So in that regard, to answer your question, if a situation were to be presented to me that involves negligence or deficiency in the treatment of people, particularly marginalized people, of course, I would be inclined to use my influence, to use my position, to open the doors for conversation, to acknowledge that this deficiency or this deficit has been presented to me. And so how now can we engage in conversation, relationship, partnership, things better in your establishment that better serves my constituency? Because it may not be in my authority, but it's in my city, right?
Right.
So I won't be that politician. I will not be that politician who sit on her hands and say, I can't, because that's them. No, we're not going to do that. Just as I have used my platform now to express things out loud and to acknowledge to a broader community when we can't get anywhere with anything, I intend to do that when I become mayor. But I have a feeling, Mr. America, that I won't have to do that. I have a feeling that we're going to, when we arrive, when we become mayor, we are going to raise a standard. We're going to raise the bar. So leaders at the housing authority will know we're not having it.
Right.
Those private entities, we're not having it. If you don't want to hear from City Hall, if you don't want to hear from the administration of Kesha Gison Carter, and this is another thing that sets me apart from this current Savannah's opponent. This isn't about me. This isn't about me. I say to people, when I become mayor, we become mayor. This isn't I go or ego. This is we go.
Right. Absolutely. And
we go to City Hall. In 2015, you all sent me to City Hall to a gunfight with a butter knife. You went to City Hall as a lady, and they wouldn't treat me like a woman, so I had to fight like a man, right?
There you go. Yes.
And so here we are. And what we want to do now is, I trust and hope that this will be the last time that we have to conjure up and dredge up obvious. The obvious is what it is.
Right.
And what we want to do is we want to shift the focus. We want to shift the focus on how we are going to promote activity and programs for our youth. How are we going to snatch back our community that's been forced out to Pooler, Port Wentworth, Garden City, Effingham, Guyton, Hinesville? You think those people have moved to Statesboro? You think folks move from Savannah, from their families because they want to? No, they moved because they had to.
Right.
We're going to shift the needle to engage with our industry who have won all the time, to help them recognize that our families, our mothers and fathers, even our single individuals, they can't go to work in the tourism industry and leave there and go to work 2 and 3 jobs, and then we as leaders expect for them to be good parents. No, those are the conversations I want to have, Mr. America. You know why? Because I'm collecting information right now. I'm collecting data right now, statistics right now. I'm taking notes right now, because A1 day one, come January 24, guess what? I'm not talking. I'm not negotiating. I'm not collaborating. I'm not meandering. We're doing, we're taking, and we're making.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, Miss Producer, I'm put that last question up, and I'm gonna answer that. You were saying why Van Johnson need a bodyguard. The reason why people have bodyguards is because they're not doing the right thing. They're not doing the right thing. That's why you don't have bodyguards because you're doing the right thing. No, you have it because you're not doing the right thing. So if he using money to use for bodyguard, whatever, come on, really, dude, who you think you is? You ain't no Donald Trump. You ain't no Joe Biden, nothing like that, dude. You wasting money, wasting time. Bodyguard, really, man? Please. Hey, so Miss Carl, I got last question of the night, and kind of explain this to the people, the word on the street, that they kind of confused. It's the counselor chair. What that mean? What counselor chair? I don't understand that. Break it down to us.
Nothing. In Savannah, it means absolutely nothing. You know why? Because we don't have committees. We do not have committees. We do not function in a manner in which a vice chair or chair would actually be tangible or useful. Because the mayor makes all of the decisions. This mayor makes all of the decisions. We have no discussions. We do not meet at when you want to know what else causes discord, Mr. America?
Yes.
You want to know what else? You have had more meetings with the mayor than I have.
What? That's
the God honest truth. Me, Alicia, and Bernetta, you've had more meetings with him than we have. Now, as a leader, what do you do as a leader?
Yeah, that's crazy. Because I know for a fact me and him would never ever have a meeting. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is this. A mayor job. Talk a little bit, and then talk a little about what the city manager do. What is the city manager job? Is the mayor over the city manager or what? Explain that to us.
Well, the mayor isn't over anyone. That's the first misconception, right? So, virtue of our charter, and I encourage people to actually pull down our charter from the City of Savannah website, and it's 13, 20 pages or so. Just take your time and 2, 3 pages at a time, if you will. become familiar with it. It's not easy reading, but it will help you to understand a great deal. We have here in Savannah a council manager form of government, which essentially means that we have a weak mayor form of government, right? That means the manager is the chief executive officer of our government. That being said, that city manager responds and reports directly to a council, to a full body. But because this mayor, with his 20 years of experience, has maneuvered and backdoored himself into a strong mayor form of government, which means he essentially makes all of the decisions, tells this city manager what to do and how to do it. And it's easy for him to do that because this city manager has never been a city manager before. City manager even been in, we haven't been into executive session. Now consider this. First thing is, this is our 4th city manager and we haven't been in office 4 years. that function on its face right there. That should tell you all know right there, right? And this mayor has had his hand in picking every last one of them, right? And so this city manager is charged with managing the day-to-day operations of our local government, inclusive of the city staff. The city manager's role is to take directives from the city council. That directive essentially based on our votes on council. When it comes to ordinances, policies, or mandates. But because of how this local government is now structured and established, there is only a select few, the majority, that he actually listens to. Everything else that comes, it's often a battle or a fight. Every now and again, if it's a good day or if it's something that doesn't cost them very much, we'll have our way. But the only times that me, Alderwoman Blakely, and Lanier have been successful in getting anything done is we have had to go public. And that is a part of the perception of discord when we go public. But we go public because that's the only way we're listened to.
Right. Yeah. I think, me personally, I think he's using the mayor job not in a good way. And this is what I see. And I want to tell the people this. When you see Miss Kesha out, and when you see me out or any black media out, we hear y'all. But at the end of the day, we can only do so much. We're going to need y'all to go vote. Remember in November. You know what I'm saying? You can tell us this, but at the end of the day, go vote and then make a change. And make a change.
Few days left to vote. I'm sorry, there's only a few more days left to register to vote. So you have a 17-and-a-half-year-old or older in your family under your guardianship or in your leadership, please encourage them to register and vote. And we also encourage people to check their voter status. Your voter status on the Secretary of State's page under voter information there. But yes, we can win this race, Mr. America. We will win this race, but we will win this by a landslide if the people just vote. I know that there is a perception that there isn't very much reason for you to vote, or there hasn't been a lot to occur to inspire you to vote. But we are living in a time and a space where you cannot afford to give up.
Right.
Not afford.
I think, like I said, first of all, I want to thank you for just showing up. Thank you for taking time up to give us more information than we ever had in the history of Savannah, Georgia. Like I say, Y'all go vote, and the person that's right next to me on this podcast is going to be the next 68 mayor of Savannah, Georgia. I appreciate you. I love what you're doing. Hey, trust me, I'm with y'all all the way. I want to thank Our Black Media for giving you the opportunity to be here tonight. Saturday night, we could be doing anything, but you here on America After Dark. Tune in. Hey, we love you. We thank you. We appreciate you. We got 5 minutes and last word. I'm gonna give you the last word. 1 minute. And last word.
Well, hello, Savannah. I am Kesha Gison Carter, your humble servant, your passionate advocate, and your bold leader. I have for over 30 years been committed to those in Savannah who are of the least, the lost, the left out, and the last. As we go forth, we want to make sure that we can have the Savannah that we all know and love, a culturally blended Savannah, a Savannah where people who were born here, raised here, grew up here, graduated here, had children here, and even those who retired here could actually afford to live here. It is high time that we have a government that's held accountable, from a zero-based budget to making sure that the least of us, our most vulnerable, our seniors and our children are cared for. As we go forth in this election, I am so excited. I'm so excited because this is not only about Savannah, but this will be a template of how communities take their neighborhoods back, how communities take their cities back, and recognize that we do not have to be sold out. And understand that the good news is the bad news was wrong. We're still here. We're still standing despite it all. Despite it all, we're still here and we're still standing. And it's not about it's not about me, but it's about we. Let's go, Savannah.
Hey. And on that note, just like we say, remember in November, we love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. And we out of here. We appreciate y'all. Share.
Good night.
Like this.